Hey guys, I've been asked to take my C++ tutorials and turn them into videos so you guys can see what's going on. I decided if I'm just going to spend the time, I'm going to turn the whole introductory course into videos. So in this video, we're going to cover basically everything you need to know to get started programming in C++. And we'll take it from there, see where it goes. So anyways, let's start this video off. Um, Without getting into too much detail, what is C++? Well, C++ is a programming language. More specifically, C++ is a strongly typed mid-level language. Um, Programming languages can be thought on basically a pyramid, where the top of the pyramid is high level, the bottom of the pyramid is low level, and obviously, C++ being a mid-level language is right in the middle. What this means is, the higher up the pyramid you go, the more user-friendly the language becomes, but you lose a lot of customization, if you will. Obviously, like assembly language is on, low level, low. It's not very user-friendly, but it's very powerful. So C++ is mid-level. You have the best of high level. You have the best of low level. It's the industry standard for that reason. Second off, C++ is a compiled language. Well, that's bad. All programming languages are compiled, but C++ is compiled for the environment. It runs super fast and it's super clean when done right, but you can't take a Windows exe and run it on Linux. That pretty much sums up what C++ is. I'm not gonna, get too much into theory. I'll provide links to, the history of it if you want to learn it, but, that takes forever. So, I guess let's start with IDEs now. Most people work in an IDE. CPP files, the code can be written in basic text documents, but you do need to compile it, so you're going to need a compiler. But as I said before, most people work in IDEs, which is what I'm using right now. Visual Studio, I've heard great things about Code Blocks, Bloodshed, Borland. So if you don't have one, I provide links on the written tutorial of this. I'll put the link to that in the description. Alright, so there are a few ground rules with C++, as with pretty much every programming language. First off, C++ is case sensitive. Most high-level languages aren't case sensitive, and the best way to describe case sensitivity is to show you. I'll open one of these up quick. Alright, now case sensitivity is basically this. You have, in a high-level language, let's say you declared 3 variables of cat, and cat. If the language was non-case sensitive, all of those would mean the same thing. C++ is case sensitive though, so all 3 of those mean completely different variables. You really got to watch out for this, because I've seen many programmers fail because of this. Once you get used to it, it's like second nature. But, you got to watch out for it. Second off, C++ is... Oh, sorry about that. Computer locked up. So, C++, everything, all lines of code end with a semicolon. Not going to create a new example, but you can see by what I already have up. Basically, the semicolon tells the compiler that we're done with that line, we're moving on. So you'll see everything ends with a semicolon. There's one. The only exception to the semicolon rule is a few select syntax. A for loop, a while loop usually don't end in a semicolon. So, kind of got to watch out for that too. Other than that, we've pretty much covered everything you need to know to get started in C. The only other thing I can think of, which is pretty important, you know, to keep note, is C++ is an object-oriented programming language. There are other ones out there. Common ones you might have heard of are Java. Java's OOP. Um, Basically, what object orientation is splitting the program up into smaller sections. The best example I can give for this, and I'm sorry if this is not a good example, is, you know, a car. A car can be thought of as the application. The car itself is the whole. The car is split up into many different working parts, though. You know, you have the engine, the wheels, the drive shaft, the steering wheel. You know, each one does its own special thing and has its own specific purpose, but it works with the other ones in whole to make the car. That is basically what object orientation is. You know, the program is split up into smaller parts. You know, if you want a visual example, the best I can provide is, you know, looking at what I'm working on now. You know, we've split it up. We have initialize application, here's update, move camera, receive input, etc. If we take a look at the source file, you'll see that we've split it up by functions. Each function does one thing. So the camera function handles all of the camera, you know, stuff, and it's called from another function, you know. So that, you know, that pretty much sums up this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we're gonna start by writing our first program. Um, every programmer, as far as I know, has started with the Hello World program. If you haven't, way to break tradition. But no, seriously. You know, so keep an eye out for the next tutorial, and we'll get that cracking. Later, guys.